Welcome back, everybody, to the Fast and Slow podcast. I'm your host, Nick, and with me, as always, is Nate. And we're back again for episode 25 with a little bit different scenery. For those in podcast land, there's not a Camaro behind me. Nate, how you doing?
I'm good. I don't hate that background either, though.
Dude, I was putting this together. So for podcast land, we'll get into it, but the Camaro's with a shop getting the Eaton True Track and the brakes sorted. So, I didn't want to have the Honda Pilot be the centerpiece. So you guys are getting kind of the reverse angle of what the YouTube video normally shows. And I've got my BFGs with American Racing, muscle car wheels kind of propped up. Uh, and I also have, if you see that lamp behind me,
Yeah, I remember
um,
that.
yeah, I built that freshman year of high school in basically home ec, but like home maintenance is what they called the
Uh,
class.
yeah, I can't remember what they called it. Yeah.
Mr. Boltzer, I remember him,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
you know, gruff guy, but I got docked for this. I didn't get 100% on this. You know why?
Because you're
There's
a dirty hot rodder.
there's no lampshade.
Oh, that there was there supposed to be?
Apparently that was in the rubric that you had to have it's a lamp, and so I didn't have a lamp shade.
Oh,
90% of the class basically he had like these pre-made bases that you would just
yeah.
wire everything in, right?
Yeah.
I'm over here freaking series wiring, eight
Yeah.
lights into a drag racing Christmas tree, all custom, and I get docked.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
was
rules are
pissed.
rules.
Yeah.
Hey, shameless
Uh,
plug. Aren't those wheels and tires for sale?
they're pending. So,
Oh, really? Oh, well,
yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, hopefully they're gone by the time this thing airs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put them on the Facebook Marketplace, and they're really eager, but they're out of town, and I
Aren't
I
they
did
all?
I did some sleuthing. They're local, retired Air Force, seems legit, and that's how it normally ends. But
I mean,
uh,
it's not an iPhone. I don't feel like you're going to get mugged.
no, and they don't. I don't need to move them. Like if it falls through, it falls through. There's swap meets and
They're
things
going to
I
get
can.
sold. They're wheels and tires. Like they're,
Yeah, yeah, and there's so much tread left. The
yeah.
only downside is the date code's like 2021, so
Oh, they're perfect burnout
that's
tires.
that's how I'm marketing them.
Yeah.
They've got plenty of burnout life left. Maybe not,
I wouldn't pack your family into the car and drive across the country on them,
right?
but you could burn
Funny
them down in a couple weekends.
funny story, the tires before I bought these were the original. So when we put the engine in 2021, um I was like, probably not a good idea to run these tires because they were the tires we purchased in like '05 or '06.
Yeah.
I forget what
Are they
the date
are they
code.
cracked or dry rotted or anything?
No, that's the thing. They live their entire life in a garage because we bought the
Oh,
tires.
they're
Just
golden then. They're good as new.
yeah, it's not what the internet says. The internet says micro fractures or
That's just the tire man trying to make sure you don't keep your tires too long.
yeah. Yeah, it's probably true. But, 15 years is probably too much, too long. Yeah, so yeah, I'm in the garage here where the Camaro normally sits. So I don't know, Nate, do you want to get into what you got going on and then mine might be a little more long-winded, so
Yeah,
I'll
I
start with you.
nothing too much on the pedal car. Um, the next step is a big one, and I'm not sure if we talked about the wire edging. Uh, we'll finalize the cockpit opening and then finish off the edges. And what I'm going to do, actually, I have a little sample because I was messing around with it trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So when I say wire edge, I mean, and I'll tell, I guess, podcast land, but I'll show you first. Every edge, I don't know if you can see that. So
Yes,
around the cockpit and around the bottom is going to get what's called a wire edge, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So if you're listening, I've got flat sheet metal that comprises the body, and I don't want the edges of that sheet metal to cut anybody, a child in particular. It's a toy. So what I'm going to do is every edge around the cockpit and the bottom, I'm going to literally fold the aluminum over an actual wire. In this case, probably an 1/8 inch TIG rod, maybe aluminum TIG rod or steel. I don't know. Steel's nice because aluminum's really soft, as you would imagine. So having a steel wire in there gives that rigidity. If something
Yeah.
hits the edge, or if a kid wants to like push themselves up out of it, it
Mm.
can handle it can handle the force. But that's very time consuming to obviously go all the way around the edge. That's several feet of doing that, and you're slowly bending the aluminum over the wire.
Yeah, what are you using to make that bend?
So first I'm going to go through. I made these. I may make another pair or some different tools, but I just grounded the serrations off of a pair of pliers so they're flat and
Mhm.
smooth.
Yeah.
And then I just go through there and slowly bend up the edge to, you know, a third and then eventually 90. Once I get
Okay.
like a 90-degree bend all the way around, I tuck the wire in there and then you start hammering the edge over the wire all the way around. All the
Patience.
while trying not to make the outside of it ugly. You want that to be like cool and
Hmm.
finished and beautiful. Um, so that's a big deal. That's going to be one of those like take a deep breath and then slowly get started. At least for me anyway. Like I got to be in the right frame of mind to do that. And measure twice, cut once, kind of deal.
Yeah. Does that get difficult with your like dexterity of your hands, or is it not?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't have. It's going to take me probably several hours to do it, so it's not going to get done in a night anyway.
Mhm.
So it's going to be one of those like I'll just slowly go through it and get there. But so anyway, over the weekend though, I was like, I've got to get some stuff done. So what I did instead was instead of doing the wire edge, I'm not going to say that I started the race car, but I started making making some things I need for it. So I went to our I've got a lot of parts in a storage shed. Went there, got everything out of that. So I have some parts here, some parts there. Now all the parts are here. So like the steering box, the steering wheel, um, some of the frame components. I've got all that now in the garage, and I'm tripping over it. So now hopefully that convinces me to get started. And then I've always had the chassis table, which was this. We've talked a little bit about it. I've made my own chassis table a couple of years ago, and all it really is a couple of I beams that I've bolted together. And once I get really situated, it's going to be flat and level, and it'll basically be a giant fixture table to start making the frame and building on top of. There's a problem though, and I wanted once I got here and got the lift, now I want to make sure that once I get started, if I need to move the project out of the way to get a bay free to like work on a daily or just room to do something else, I would like it to be under the lift.
Hmm.
So for that to happen, the table needs to be really, really low, lower than I had it. So I'll show you quick. It's not too exciting, but um, gosh darn it, stuck. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna have to try and get. So there's the chassis table. It's like I said, it's two I beams, and I've bolted them together with like some cross members in three spots. Um, and
When you
what
said,
the only thing that I'm doing that's really clever, so it's upside down right now. You can see that there's wheels, casters that are facing up. Those are actually the casters that came with the lift.
oh,
I
okay.
bought the caster kit that comes with the four post so that you can move the four post around if you want.
Hmm.
And it's actually a pretty clever system on how they do it. But long story short, I'm just adding some tabs and brackets to accept those casters. And then I don't know if you can kind of you see that foot or pad there.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what the Instagram was. I was drilling new holes in the bottom of the I beam to just bolt the foot pad directly to it.
That's cool. So for the listeners, he's underselling the beefiness of this. It looks like he's about to go build a
Here.
skyscraper with the I-beams that he has in his garage.
Yeah, I mean they're I forget the specs of the I beam, but they're the flange is like 5 inches and they're probably maybe 8 inches tall. So they're stout.
Yeah.
Um,
And probably what, half inch thick,
uh
3/8?
yeah, probably 3/8 to a half.
Yeah.
Um, so the story behind them was they were free. I didn't pay money for those,
Yeah.
or I would have gotten smaller, more easier manageable beams, but they were free. They were in somebody's way. They brought them to my house. I didn't have to lift a finger. They just brought,
That's nice. Probably weigh a couple 100 pounds, I assume, if not more.
Um, I think I swagged each one might be 250
Okay.
alone.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Um, but it looks good. I mean, I rounded the ends and I painted it black, and I think it looks really good.
hmm
Um, but yeah, I put instead of it being up on legs, I'm putting the feet or the pads directly to the flange. So I drilled a hole and then welded a bung. I think it's a bung or a boss or whatever to thread the pads directly into the
hmm
flange. So that way the table will sit real low and give me some hopefully enough clearance. Uh, the caster is also low so that I can slide it in and out from under the lift.
Yeah, so when you're doing this, it's always going to be at that height when you're working on the car. It's always going to be pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be on its feet. So I imagine what I hope is the case for the most part is that I'm going to move the project out from under the lift, so not under the lift, if I can talk, and it'll sit there on its feet, and hopefully the vast majority of it will happen there because I'm going to spend some time in making sure it's flat and level, so that as I build it, you can just throw everything and it was referenced to level. That's the kind of the convenience of a chassis table and all that.
hmm
Aside from a sturdy place to fixture things, it's that it's level.
Right.
So if I start moving it around the garage, I guess you can't be totally sure that it's level once you've moved it and put it back.
hmm
So I mean, you could have it's close, but maybe not close enough. To move it, then I would have to jack it up, and I can use these casters, which can be easily applied to move it out of the way. So the feet will always, in theory, if I put it back in its same spot and haven't messed with the feet, it should stay level. But
Sure.
of course, if I'll check it if I have to move it. But yeah, but all that being said, the dream is to as much as I can keep the project over here,
hmm
and then kids' toys, lawnmower, trash can, stuff like that goes under the lift
Yeah.
um, until I need to pull another car in here, and then we'll. But then at least I've got the option. I can throw the casters on the table, slide it under the lift. We'll
Yeah,
see.
makes sense.
It's here pretty soon. There's going to be a lot of stuff in here, and I was pretty organized. Now it's all blown up. So it's a matter of getting back organized again, and then I'm so anxious to get started on laying everything out and seeing seeing it come together.
Yeah, I equate to what you're doing to like, I don't know if you ever seen in a neighborhood somebody putting together like a kit airplane. Like, there's levels to what you're doing. I think you see somebody doing a kit car. Well, here's my hot take. A standard car restoration's like baseline. The next level up is a kit car. The level up above that is like I'm torn between is it you buy a kit plane and you go fly your own plane, or you have a chassis table in your suburban garage and you build your own chassis.
Yeah.
Like you're on that level in my book.
Well, so I'm going to challenge you on that. I I think restoring an actual car, an existing car, is probably on the top
Hmm. Okay.
because
Why?
and here's why. It is whatever I say it is in my project.
True.
There
True.
is no right or wrong. I can make any mistake look like it was supposed to be there. The only person that knows what it's supposed to look like is me.
That's true. Yeah.
Whereas an actual restoration, I mean, especially think like Mopar land, right? Like
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
would get eaten alive if you deviated in the slightest of anything other than new old stock materials or parts or
Sure. Yeah.
something like that.
I take that point. I see it. I see it. But in terms of I guess where I was going with it, the like grandiose effort you're going into getting your garage where it needs to
Oh,
be.
sure.
But I guess if you see somebody with like a rotisserie and they're rotisserieing their car in their
Yeah.
home garage, then yeah, same level. What I did, I would not say same level as building a chassis from
Yeah.
scratch.
And I mean, let's be real here. It's not this. It's it's a very very large go kart, right? Like so, the
Yeah.
chassis is not going to be all that clever. It's literally just two parallel rails I had a guy bend 90s on the front end to make kind of a round nose.
Yeah.
Um, the back little whoop axle clearance, I don't know what the technical term is. Um,
Hmm.
okay, that might be a little clever, but
Like the
um,
notch where the
yeah.
axle fits in. Yeah.
Other than that, it's a go kart frame. It's just it's made out of 2x4 square tubing and not go kart. And then even the axle and the rear axle, the front axle, and all that, they're all together. They're right over there. I'm literally just taking Model A. I'm gonna split. I'm gonna modify them like old school hot rod stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm not making in this case, I'm not making my own front axle or my own hubs. And
You're too humble.
yeah, I say all that, and it's going to take me years and years and years. And then,
Yeah.
oh my God, this project is burying me. But
No, that's funny. That's going to be good though, man. I'm excited. I mean, you've made step one, you're getting things
yeah,
prepped and
I think I try and be like that because it's like, it's the same thing. Like the classic example was like lights. Somebody told me like, dude, the very first thing you got to do in the garage is get lights because there'll never be a good time to do it.
hmm.
Like if you get anywhere down the road and realize you want lights, you'll be pissed off. Everything will be in your way. You'll never get everything out of the garage. There's never a good time to do
Hmm.
it unless the garage is empty. So it's the same thing. It's like if it's not super easy for me to come out here and just bang out an hour and a half, then I may never do it. It has to be so easy to just come out here, do something quick, and not have to unbury it or pull a bunch of crud off of top of it. And
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. My dad, he always talks about how like flat surfaces are just the worst in garages because
I
they're
yeah,
tables, they collect and then it becomes buried and then, 40 years later somebody's selling it for you.
yeah. I mean, look at like I've only got one workbench, and it's right over there. It's a pile. I can't see the surface of
Yeah, yeah. He's describing a workbench, but don't worry, listeners, there's no
it.
workbench.
There is no workbench there. You see that under that pile of stuff? There may or may not be a workbench.
Oh
But
man.
it's that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, even just coming out here to do it. Like, there's some days I come out here and I go, like, great. Instead of working, I'm going to clean this mess up because I can't handle it anymore.
Man, I'll tell you, having the car out of here and like it just being fresh. And I probably spent last weekend before the car left, I was getting things ready, but I like took a lot of time to reset, to clean, and I went from like super bummed out, just over the hobby to now I'm like, I can't wait for this guy to get the car back. And I have like my checklist on my whiteboard for the next season. I like got remotivated over the past week, to
Yeah.
get excited again because I mean, our listeners probably can attest the past few episodes have been kind of doom and gloom from my point of view. That's not the case anymore. I feel pretty good right now, but I think
It's
it's
funny
cleaning.
yeah. Well, it's funny you say that. Do you follow Jesse James on Instagram by any chance or anybody?
I used to. I don't know if I still do or not. I know. I mean, I've seen a handful of his posts, but
Yeah.
one of my friends actually said something about like if you need to be remotivated, clean your garage or clean your shop.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He must mention it a couple times, but it definitely stuck with me. He does like the Q&A thing every now and then, like, oh, I'm traveling, so ask me a question.
yeah,
And at some point, somebody said like, oh, like, how do you get through like writer's block or like, you ever get just down in the dumps or whatever? And he must give that answer on occasion if
hmm,
you've heard it before, because he's like, you just like clean, and
yeah,
not just like clean, like
hmm,
mop the floor, wipe off your toolbox, like clean, pick everything up and clean.
yeah. And it's true, man. Like
Yeah,
turned it around this week. I'm motivated. I'm excited to get back.
yeah. So speaking of,
Yeah. So we kind of built it up over the past couple weeks. I gave up on the brakes because after talking to the guy, which I'll mention here in a minute, it could be a number of reasons. It might be the input shaft of the brake booster. It might be the diameter of the lines. It might be. And so that could turn into, me missing out on a lot of racing, trying to troubleshoot myself. And
wait,
so, hold on,
pause for a second.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Diameter of lines.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second.
Okay.
It's interesting.
I
But
don't
before,
doubt for a second, but I question like that could be. that's foundational. That's not.
Yeah, so I'll explain here in a minute. But before we go any further, I just want to give a shout out to Kevin Webb of Hot Rod and Custom Garage. His motto is getting it back on the road. He's out of Bellevue, Illinois, and he's the guy helping me out. Super cool dude. We won't get into too much, but we've actually already talked about having him on the show. He runs the Street Rod Association, I think the Missouri chapter. He does their like autocross stuff. And just after talking to him it's been such a good experience. He, had me in on his back patio and he was, consulting me about like things that need to get done and just took so much time, you know, asking questions about the car, for the project.
Yeah.
And then just like in general, we were talking cars, for
Yeah.
5 minutes. Uh, and so, yeah, he's just real into, he's been around for a while, but I think he's really into, building the next generation. And I hope this show goes in that direction. And I hope we have him on, whether in his shop or bring him over here or something. We'll figure it out. But yeah, just want to give him a shout out. So back to the car here. He was saying, we had talked about the potential input shaft depressing the master cylinder and not letting it cycle all the way through.
Yeah.
But he also said that if you convert from drums to discs, the drums actually require a larger diameter brake line, and there's a
Oh,
potential.
I
It,
see it. I see it.
yeah, so the internet is kind of split. Some people were like, "Yep, run it, you got it, no big deal," and then others are like, "Yeah," because I think it goes from internet's going to kill me, but I want to say you need to run 3/16ths to the rear, and it's quarter inch. Yeah, I want to say it's quarter inch to the rear now. Um,
What?
just slightly larger.
Help me remember. What was the problem you were having? Was it a super soft pedal?
Yeah, it would pedal up to a little better than spongy, and then I would fire it up just to see, and it would go straight to the floor with it on. And then I would go back through, rebleed them all the way through, and that first pump would be to the floor, and then it would pump up to spongy, like with it off.
Then you turn it on and it goes back down to the floor.
Yep. So he's going to go through it all. I kind of gave him a bit of a blank check. I said, "Hey man,
Fix it.
like fix it. Just I don't care what it takes." You know, I and this is after building rapport. I've been talking to him for a couple months now.
Sure.
I wouldn't say that to anybody, but um, yeah. So he's gonna look into it, and if it means buying new lines or bending lines, and he was rattling this stuff off like, yeah, no big deal. We'll just bend some new lines, and I'm like, dude, you have no idea. For
Yeah, that's where we're
me,
different. I'm super intimidated by brake line.
yeah. Well, it's just the simple task to him, which is not a simple task to me.
Yeah.
To bend lines and go through all that, you know, the shit show of all that. I was just like, oh my God, it'd take me forever. And he's like, yeah, it's just part of the job, which we all know that, right? Like my dad's a
Yeah.
mechanic. I've watched him do it forever. It's what he does.
Yeah.
So yeah, I joked around, I said on Instagram, I ran out of talent. Like this is uh this is where the road ends. But he's got the car. He's gonna do the rear diff as well. So I got a Eaton True Track, um, and a 373 gear. So going from 410 to 373.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think overall he's gonna look over the car. Um, I mean, he runs the autocross for the Street Rod Association club that he does. So like, if he sees anything that's like a safety,
Oh yeah.
I think it's always good to have maybe a new set of eyes looking at your project or
Yeah.
your rig.
No, yeah, I guess I didn't realize that. That's a super advantage. I
Mhm.
mean, he knows you're going to autocross it, right? So he
Oh,
knows.
yeah, for sure.
Then, yeah, I mean, you've almost got like a tech inspector doing the work.
Yeah, and I
You
think
may literally have a tech inspector. I don't know. Maybe he is.
he is, yeah. And I think, like I said, it's good to have somebody that a little unbiased, like I
Sure.
sometimes I'll look at things and I'm like, good enough, we'll
Yeah.
let it ride. He's gonna give a I mean, semi-biased, I'm paying him, but at the same time, he doesn't want me to go out and, kill myself on the road.
Yeah,
Uh, he did say, he was like, have you thought about manual brakes? And I'm like, I
yeah.
have. So, yeah, we'll see. He'll be troubleshooting this week.
It would. I don't know how that. I guess it depends. I don't know without knowing what the actual like root cause of your problem is. It makes you wonder if manual brakes might be a logical way out.
Yeah, I think so. He said, he works a lot with, Will Wood. He's been to a bunch of their classes. Like he's, essentially a dealer slash installer.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, if I have to call them, they're probably going to say, uh,
Go to manual.
get rid of the booster. I mean, they're a racing brake company. Like, yeah, their stuff does work with boosters, but and I told him my long-term goals. He was like, I mean, the trade-offs to manual brakes is like if somebody wants to hop in your car, like your wife, and go drive it, it's probably not a good idea. Like I'm the only one that drives this thing
Yeah.
right now, so I'm not really concerned about that.
Well,
My
yeah.
my big fear is I've never used manual brakes before. I don't To me in my mind I'm like, so does it feel like when your car's off and you run out of vacuum and it turns into a brick? Or
I
you
don't.
know,
So I can't speak from a whole lot of experience either. I've got my own struggles with manual brakes, but just on the bug. So without knowing, like nobody sat me in a car with manual brakes and said this
Mhm.
is what good manual brakes feel like.
Right.
So like
Right.
right now in the bug, what I do know though is like you should be able to lock them up.
Hmm.
The pedal is hard on your foot, like so there maybe I assume there's just not nearly as much travel. You're in
Probably.
theory you should be able to stop just as fast and have the same performance, but instead of stepping on a pillow with like
Mhm.
power brakes, you're stepping on a brick.
Yeah, and that's how I understand it too. And you're the pressure, like you have more, it's more sensitive to pressure.
Right.
There's no, the margin for like movement is so small that maybe I'm saying that wrong. Like you said, the pillow example, you
Yeah.
step on it and that large distance you're stepping on the pillow pedal, you know, is such a very small range of motion for the manual brakes is how I understand it.
Right.
Um, and if they're done right, like I've not spoken to anybody that said manual brakes are bad, like that's
No, I think to me, you should be able, I think you literally there would not lose any performance. Like you should be able to stop just as fast with either one. I
Mhm.
think manual, this is me speculating again. If I were on a racetrack though, manual might give you the advantage because you might be able to, if you, like, let's say you're coming into a corner and you feel them starting to lock up,
Mhm.
you might be able to back off, feel that and back off and get them to start spinning again.
Oh, I'm
Whereas
sure.
with
Yeah.
boosters, I feel like you're going to be traveling back. You might need inches of foot movement to get that effect. Whereas manual brakes, it's literally just relax your foot a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's right. And, you think about if when you're kind of heavy in the brakes and you let off, you certainly can lift your foot faster than the booster will let the
Mm,
pedal
come
depress,
back. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of advantages. He's going into it that let's try to fix it with what you got, because it's a brand new booster. It's a dual diaphragm, it's quality. And so if we can get it to work with the booster that's on it, let's
Mhm.
do that. But if you can't, then we'll go down the manual brake route.
Yeah. I have something interesting on, it's about boosters and we don't need to talk about it for long,
Okay.
but I was helping is a loose term. I was standing around the engine bay of my friend's. He's the guy, a coworker that I'd like to have on the show.
Hmm.
He's got a pro charged Cobra. So it's got to be the SN95 body style Cobra.
Yeah.
But he's got the twin dual overhead cam, whatever. It's a Cobra.
Hmm.
Um, and his brake booster is fed off of the power steering
Oh,
pump.
brother, do I have a funny story about that?
All right, I'm intrigued. It literally blew my mind. So I'm not the all knowing car guy, especially when it comes to Mustangs, and it was the first I'd ever seen it.
Okay.
So
I have like intimate experience when they fail, and it's
oh
terrible.
no, oh
Yeah.
no.
So this was like oh 04, oh 05. I just got my license, and or maybe it was before that. Maybe it was when I had my learner's permit. But we had a snow, and my dad's like, "Hey, let's go out to a parking lot. Let's go do donuts and like mix fun with training on how to drive in
Yeah,
the
a little
snow."
driver training. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go out there and, 14, 15, 16, whatever, however old I was, me, uh, was like lock to lock, holding it, pin, which,
What car are you in?
oh yeah, I guess I should say that. This is a super cool chick magnet, chick mobile, safari minivan, or like not minivan, but conversion van, I guess.
Okay.
Slider door, you name it, right? So anyway, we're out there doing it, and all of a sudden, I lose power steering and power brakes in half foot of snow. So
Wait, so your Savari minifan had the same thing?
same setup, yeah. So the booster controls the power. It's vacuum boosted brakes, vacuum boosted power steering. I guess is how it works. It must be like
This on the Mustang, it looked different. I couldn't find a vacuum line. It looked like it was getting the power brakes off of the pressure side of the power steering pump somehow, some way.
oh weird. Okay. Oh
Because
maybe
it didn't have a big vacuum
nope.
booster.
That makes
It
way more
was
sense.
super tall. The only thing I could think of was for packaging or something like that.
No,
But
no, you're right. You're right. So not a vacuum booster. Because with that, I sheared the input shaft of the power steering pump, which
so
eliminated,
you
yeah,
lost power steering pressure, and that
yeah,
smoked everything.
smoked everything. Yeah, yeah. So we get back to the house, and I don't know if you ever worked on a Safari minivan or Safari van, but the engine bay is not very large, and we didn't have a garage at the time.
So help me out here. Are those the ones with the hood is like
Yeah, it's almost
uh,
like cab
18
cab
inches?
cab over engine
Yeah,
essentially.
it's almost. Yeah, okay, I
Yeah.
got you.
I mean, yeah, you get to the engine from the inside. Like it's got an engine cover
Yeah.
inside of the vehicle. But so my dad made me replace the pump in the driveway, like parked up next to the garage door in the snow. And I'm like no dexterity in my fingers trying to remove this pulley because you have to remove the pulley to get the pump off. I will never forget it. So even to this day, if I even like get to the lock of a wheel, I'm like, oh shit. Uh, it could be middle of the summer and I'm like, the snow is going to come down and I'm going to have to fix this in my driveway. That's how impressionable it was on me.
Can I love your dad to death, but can I call bullshit?
On which part? Because I'd love to.
It was his idea.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, man.
What a dick move.
I know. I should go back and make him replace a power steering pump in the driveway.
With all that snow we had, you should have just randomly went to home and
Yeah.
been like, "You out here."
He still has the input shaft in his toolbox. Like
Oh,
I'll
really?
bring this story up, once every handful of years, and he's like, "Yep." And usually I'm talking to him on the phone, and he's in the garage, and it's like, "Yeah, I'm looking at that shaft right now. It's still in the toolbox." Like,
That's funny. One day he probably I'd be interested to see how he remembers that.
yeah, yeah, we'll have to ask him.
Or if it's just the old guy that was like, time to toughen this kid up a little bit.
Yeah,
You're gonna wreck cars in the snow. You got to fix them in the snow.
exactly. Yep. So I don't know if that story answered any of your questions about your buddy's Mustang, but
No, it was the first I'd ever seen it with my own eyes, or even heard anybody talk about. I guess I don't have too many Ford friends. I don't even know if that's a Ford thing, apparently, but
yeah,
um, it was, yeah, it was weird. And we were both like trying to figure out why go through all the trouble and all the extra complexity, and because you look at that part of the car, like where all the brake booster should be, and it's
mhm.
this spaghetti mess of hard lines, and you're like, my God, what if you had a leak? Like how much of a nightmare would it be to like work on that?
Yeah. It
But
can't be a vacuum thing. I mean, nothing, those cars are modern enough that it's not like they're running, multiple accessories off vacuum. So you should have enough
No, I mean,
vacuum for a booster.
oh, he might have answered this. I mean, so it at some point, obviously, it was pro charge. So right, he's got
Mhm.
a power adder now. So I was like, well, that's good for you, right? You don't have to worry about vacuum like as much. Like it's one less thing you gotta worry about when you're shoving boost down its throat. But he was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We were like, I wonder if like the Ford guys knew, or was there an option to buy? I don't know enough about like the SN95 Cobras. If was there an option that could they come supercharged? I don't know.
Hmm.
Or did they know? Did like was Ford in such cahoots with the um, what do you want to call them? The names of the company, like Celine, and
Oh, yeah.
did they just know like, oh, we're going to make this except a power adder like lickety split, so nobody's got to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably say the same thing for LSs, right? They make enough low compression to you can throw.
You could, yeah, they're
Yeah.
already like primed for supercharging and turbocharging, but
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
pretty
know. It
cool
was
that
interesting.
it's pretty cool you could just do that. That's I love my engine. It's great. It makes all the torque. But they for like a few thousand, which I'd say that it was a decent amount of money more. Blueprint makes a power adder 383 stroker, and it's like I think it's like 9 to 1 or 9.5 to 1 compression. You know, forged everything bulletproof. Yeah, man, it would be sweet because then I could throw a, you know, I've always loved the mini either blower or like a mini blower from Wyan or
Yeah.
whatever brand. Obviously, I've gone in a totally different direction with Camaro now, but I thought that I would just love to have a blower coming out of the hood.
Yeah. I yeah, I'm right now where I am in like what I think is cool. I think like a real wound tight, naturally aspirated engine is cool. Like I want to hear about the like 14 to 1 compression,
Hmm.
like 9,000 RPM.
Yeah,
That's not
yeah.
to say that I'm never going to remove off my bucket list until I actually do it. I I really want to play with nitrous.
Mm,
I'm just going to throw it out there. I
yeah.
somehow, some way, I don't care if it's like shoving it down a junkyard, like neon. I don't care. I really want to play with nitrous at some point,
That'd be
and it'd
cool.
be brown bonus points for a car that is worthy of it and is prepped for it. But I will settle for grenading junkyard cars on nitrous if we
Yeah, yeah. Ooh, we'll have to think about that.
have
I have thoughts, but yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
to.
We'll park that one.
Yeah. That's that it's low on the bucket list. There's plenty of high things up there, but
Uh-huh.
it is a resident and has been and always will be on my bucket list.
Yeah, but going back to the high revving stuff, I don't know if I like the low end like blower surge or the 9,000 like a pro stock NHRA, 14,000 RPM at the line. That is insane when those
Yeah.
guys are totally wound out.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. Something about when they spin the tires during blower surge, basically at idle, is
Yeah.
such a cool thing.
Yeah. That is special. I'll give you that.
But that's just like car show antics because I
Yeah.
think you're probably not efficient if you're doing that. So
Yeah.
I like them both. How about that? How about we just
Oh yeah. I
settle
mean,
there?
it's not that I'm not going to take the other. It's just that
Yeah.
if I'm in a group of guys and one's talking about his, you know,
Yeah.
9,000 RPM small block Chevy or Ford,
Yeah.
I
Well, I mean,
might hear that guy out.
David Freiberger built uh, I'm trying to remember what engine it was for, but it was NA, and he made just stupid power, way, way higher RPM. I want to say maybe it was for that street rod that he put together, the Ford. I don't know if you followed him that much during, it was like COVID times when he was putting together that engine that
Mm,
was,
no, I mean, I got like hooked on Engine Masters for a long while. So if it was on there,
it was towards
then
the
maybe.
end. Yeah. Yeah. It was between that and like um, Roadkill Garage with
Yeah.
Dulcich. So um, yeah, that's pretty much it for the Camaro. I will say, I think before I was talking about doing the autocross school, and unfortunately, SCCA puts on, I want to say, and I could be wrong on this, the name of it, but it's like the starting line series of schools. And so there's like the starting line novice school, which is what they're going to put on here in St. Louis. And
Hmm.
then back when I was in Georgia, they put on another starting line um, that I think was for like anybody could sign up. But I guess this novice school here, like it's for like no kidding, first time, never done it
Oh,
before. And so I first went to sign up and there it was already booked. So I messaged or I put a post on Facebook and I was like, hey, what's the chance that there's a waiting list, yada, yada, yada. And Todd Benny, our like chair, he was like, yeah, it's for you probably would be turned away if you tried to sign up because it's not
really?
for people like you. Not that I'm
People like
experienced.
me,
Yeah.
we don't like your kind
Yeah.
around.
No, not that I'm experienced, but I've done it enough to not fit that crowd, I
Sure. You're
guess.
not, perhaps not novice anymore.
Mm-mm. But yeah, so I should have the car back in a couple weeks. And I don't know what people think on the YouTube show, but I'm probably going to slide this further and have the car in the background. Like, because I've got like a million miles to work with behind this table. So I can, you know, I kind of like this setup with the toolbox in the back and
Yeah.
then the car would be kind of ground level car.
Yeah. You see the toolbox over the hood and
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty
look
cool.
like a Summit uh, catalog.
Yeah. Hmm. Summit,
Hmm.
if you listen, or if anybody affiliated with Summit listens, no joke, I give a lot of money to Summit.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for money. I just would
Yeah.
love to have this show promoted by Summit. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect segue. Here, I mentioned something about iRacing,
Yeah.
uh, and it's a promotion piece. So I posted on Facebook a couple days ago. I finally figured out how to create a livery for a set of
Hmm.
Corsa. And
Yeah.
use it's going to sound funny. The photo editing software is called GIMP, GIMP. So, if you've ever seen Pulp Fiction, it means one thing. In this regard, it means photo editor. But dude, it's super complex. At least it was to me. You basically download the wireframe diagram, and I might have explained this on the show before, but like,
Not in this detail, I don't think.
okay, yeah. So you can go in Assetto, you can go in iRacing, and you download the. It's basically a JPEG, but it's like the contour of the vehicle, and it looks like you've pressed the vehicle flat on a 2D shape.
Sure.
And it's like the body of the car, the rear of the car, the front of the car, it's all aspects you could see, but it's all flat. So you upload that JPEG into GIMP and you can, add layers and upload files for, different graphics and stuff. So once I figured out like how to move things and, you know, make everything work, I finally figured out how to create my own Camaro livery. And so I've got a 79 Camaro mod for Assetto, and I created a livery it's my car. Like I took the
Yeah.
actual JPEG um, graphics that I sent out to the decal place to get the
Hmm.
decals. It looks so sick. And I'm just like cheesing ear to ear on how cool this looks.
I mean, it looks dead on. I
It,
mean,
thanks. I spent way too much time trying because I took yesterday off, and once I figured it out, I like got in this groove, and once I got the car to the guy, I got back to the house, and I was like, well, I'm off work, and Sarah's working, so I'm just gonna go up here, and 4 hours later, I I have the car squared away.
isn't it, uh, without going into too much detail, isn't it wild how much time things like that take?
Yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah,
like, so what little like 3D modeling I've done, it like you're almost always, at least I am, fooled into thinking like, okay, couple like I'll even say like, all right, 2 hours. If I want this like so I got some stuff off from like Send Cut Send,
Hmm.
another shameless plug. They're if
Yeah,
you're
they're
not
awesome.
familiar, their web the idea is brilliant.
Hmm.
And if you can do even self-taught 3D modeling or just 2D modeling, you can have parts made by them and all that stuff. So I'll sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna, especially like the bending stuff. I've had semi-complex like bending stuff where I thought it was complex. And I'll do like the sheet metal in SolidWorks or whatever. Dude, if you're not doing that every day, all day, and super like fluent with it,
Hmm.
that can be a time suck.
Yeah, I mean the buttonology atrophies. Two big words, $2 words there. Buttonology and atrophy. I mean, it just goes
I think
away.
I know atrophy. I can't say I've heard of buttonology.
Oh man, it must be a my line of work thing. But basically, like
I've heard
car.
of we my line of work. We have Swaptronics.
What does that mean?
Just keep replacing it until it works.
Oh, that's funny. No, buttonology is like what do you have to click and what sequence do you click things and what buttons, what keys,
Mm.
hotkeys do this, what hotkeys do
Oh,
that.
sure, yeah,
And so if you're not doing that every day, you're gonna forget, you
yeah,
know. So a lot of it is I get to a point teaching myself and I get frustrated because it wouldn't, the thing wouldn't work. And then I'd stop for a week and I'd come back and it'd be like, damn, I need to I need to reteach myself some of these things I did.
yeah.
So anyway, long story short, it looks cool. I'm super happy with it.
Yeah, it's
But it
time
got
well
me,
spent. That's the moral.
yeah, so it got me thinking. I race one besides the days we do the podcast. I race and I race every day, like every night before I go to bed.
Nice.
I'm gonna make a fast and slow podcast car
Oh, really?
because I'm racing against people. Like,
Oh.
yeah. And I'm not top split, so nothing's getting aired, nothing like that. But like,
Sure.
I mean, if someone looks over and
Somebody be like, fast and slow
that's
podcast.
yeah, weird. I need to check that out. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to maybe do it this weekend. Uh, so I don't know. Like, I haven't thought through what it's gonna look like or how I'm gonna
Are you gonna,
place
is it gonna be
crap.
another Camaro?
No, I race MX-5 still,
Okay.
which I tried jumping out of the MX-5 and into
I
the
saw you post something about the GR
yeah the
86.
GR86. I have no pace. Like,
Was that what it was? I couldn't tell. I was trying to read the stats. I don't understand the stats very well, but I was worried you like crashed out or something.
no, I wasn't crashing out. I just the ABS on that car. I don't know. It's really hard for me to understand when the ABS is kicking in because my pedals are entry level pedals, and
Mm-mm.
you can I guess there is an add-on you can or like a plug-in that you can add that'll give you like an audible beep when the ABS kicks in, which
Oh, really?
that might be
Oh,
time well spent um, because I just it's hard to understand. I'm not there. I haven't quite figured it out. But you lose so much pace when the ABS kicks in. So you need to like enter corners, hit the brake just short of ABS, and like I haven't figured out the like where
yeah,
that's at. Um, and so like I'll be like mid pack because the racing's way cleaner because it's not a bunch of idiots. I never crashed out by any means. It just my tires would fall off and then my pace would be off and I'd be last. So
so on the fancy pedals, would there be like a tactile alert, like would the pedals
um,
vibrate or stop
you,
vibrating or
you can buy their shakers that you can put on them, but the fancy pedals like the load cell, they're the pressure induced, so you have a
yeah,
little more feel of like you wouldn't have a shaky feel, but you would. To me, you can goes back to the manual brake conversation.
sure. It'd be in the same spot every time.
Yep. Yeah.
Eventually, you would know what that feels like on your foot, and
Hmm. Yeah, and with the potentiometer pedals, it's just a spring. You can push it down to the floor every single time. Where the load cell, I mean, they're like, no kidding, stand on them, and you're not going
yeah,
to move the spring as much. You can put in like F1 springs and they're crazy hard to push.
Leave bruises on your feet.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll be somewhere in between there. But
Yeah.
uh yeah, so I decided GR86 not for me right now. So I hopped in an MX-5 last night and finished third.
Nice.
I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and sweep up on these mid-pack, mid-split people.
That it's interesting that I guess I'm surprised even on like an iRacing that there's that big of a difference between that you could literally jump out of one and get in the next and be
Mhm.
in a totally different region of the field.
Yeah, they're at the Roval in Charlotte this week at for MX5, and I've raced that on like NASCAR games and
Yeah.
other sims. And so usually I'll take 2 or 3 days of just practice by myself on tracks I've
Hmm.
never been to. But I was like, hey, YOLO, just like go in there
Yeah.
and
Why not?
qualify, and threw down 2 qualifying laps and I'm like, didn't feel that great. And I qualified fourth, I think. And the we said this before, but like the top four, top five guys are usually pretty clean. So if you can
Hmm.
like get ahead of the chaos
Yeah.
that happens behind you, you'll be good. So yeah, I think the person that finished fourth was like 12 seconds behind me, so it wasn't even a competition.
Nice.
But yeah, so I mean, long kind of got away from the reason I brought it up, but I think creating that as like our advertisement would be pretty cool.
What's cool about that too is like yeah, so nobody like you said, nobody's going to be showing replays without, your consent, but you can.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think that's super. I mean, I enjoy what you do post about like any clips or anything like
mhm,
that. Um, that'd be cool. It'll give you some content for your page and even this page.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And if because it's not a hot mic. You push a button to talk, but like if anybody wanted to ask, like, hey, what's that show?
Yeah,
You know, you could have
yeah.
a
Let me
conversation.
tell you.
Yep, yep. Uh, oh, and then there's one other thing which I posted, so you're tracking already, but the autocross mod that I found on
Hmm.
Assetto, dude, it's so legit. Like,
Is it really?
yeah, and it doesn't, you hit a cone and it doesn't like take a second off, but it does keep your time. So you'll go all the way through and you cross the beams and it'll give you your time, and then you drive kind of through the cones back to the start and it'll
Really?
reset. And so you just keep going and going and going.
Huh.
The only downside, it doesn't reset the cones if you hit them. So you have to like kind of reset the entire system, I guess. But whatever. This dude just made it by himself. So
Oh, really? Oh, it was like okay, I got you now.
yeah, that's how a set of course it is. It's all, I mean, there's like the base game, but it's a crowdsourced uh,
Interesting.
thing. So people
That's
make,
actually pretty cool.
yeah, I mean, we talk, 3D modding and stuff like
Yeah.
it's next level because they're making you know, exact replicas of racetracks with grandstands and, like crazy detail. I don't know how they do it. I haven't actually done any research as to, how they do it. But I mean like the 79 Camaro that I have, that's a mod. Somebody made it.
Huh.
They upload it to a website, you download the file and drop it in the game and it all that takes like 5 seconds. Eh,
Man.
a minute. Have I sold
I'm just gonna go on a limb. I assume it's somebody spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, yeah. I assume it's they're probably getting money somehow. I don't know how they're doing it, but
Or
or
not. I
or
don't
not.
know.
I don't know. Yeah.
There's like the like more in like computers and programming and things like that. I mean, open source is a huge, you call it a movement,
Hmm.
right? Where everything should be accessible and free, and everything you're doing is for the good of everyone. And you
Yeah.
know, sure, it may not be a complete project, but somebody might need that little bit that you just did to add on to this next big thing. And I subscribe somewhat to that. I think it's helpful, but at the same time, it's like if you're okay being charitable, but at the same time, it's like if you're doing something super trick, super awesome, nobody else is doing, that's worth something, and maybe you should
Yeah,
make
yeah.
sure you're getting that.
Proprietary knowledge in
Yeah,
art is, yeah, it's a thing.
yeah.
But for a set of Corsa, I don't think that way. I think everything should be free.
As a consumer, yes, everything should be free. Uh,
Oh man, it's
it'd
fun.
be interesting if you dig into that a little bit, see what is that. Yeah, what does that even look like? How do you do it? How do you build a track with grandstands?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because you download the file pack, like it's, a zip, and you unzip the file, because that's how you get the livery files to use to, to make the paint scheme. Um, but there's a bunch of file types I've never heard of, so they have to be using some sort of generation software to
Yeah, 3D
do
modeling could
it.
be. Yeah, I mean, like Rhino is a popular one for like designing. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know how they're doing it. Because it's such a, like, you think a track, like, I mean, there's like Nürburgring mods that you can download.
Yeah,
Or
that's
like,
wild to me.
yeah, they have to have some base file that they're working off of.
Or it's somebody that like on a legit team like has the sim like that team sim, and they just like five finger discounted it and
Yeah.
uploaded it to
Oh man. Yeah,
the.
it's good stuff. So if I convinced you to get a sim computer yet?
I've always been convinced it's the I got more than anything, it's probably the space and the time.
No, I know. I know.
I would I every now and then I'll daydream about like I want to build a like some super awesome sim, but I fall into that trap with anything. Like I told you, it's like, oh, I want a race car, and it's like, well, all right, Nate, what do you want to drive the race car? Or do you want to build the? I want to build the race car. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you want to play on the sim or do you want to build the sim? I want to build the sim. Like so, it's like, well, I think if I had to get serious about it, I'd probably just need to buy one.
Mhm.
Just dodge the time suck of thinking that I could build one that could be as good or better than a bought one.
Yeah, you can
Just
buy
go
them
straight
for
there.
pretty nice aluminum frame for 300 bucks, 400 bucks
Yeah, I
maybe.
mean, so
Not
I'd have
crazy.
I'd have well over $300 into something far worse than that. I almost
Oh
guarantee
yeah.
it.
I mean my wood sim, like I probably have $200 and
Yeah,
material if you count the paint and the decals and the
yeah.
like all that. So, oh
No, but
man.
that's why I was like, the VR headset's kind of cool because it's like if I could sit on the couch with a VR headset and a pedal assembly,
Hmm.
uh,
Yeah, you could.
that
PayPal.
would be fun. Do what?
PayPal. You just click
Yeah,
a few things and the thing shows up to your house. It's how
yeah.
it works.
That's how it works. Money's not real,
Yeah, buttonology. You'll figure it out.
but not yeah, right. It's that button.
Yeah.
Amazon, one click.
Oh man. Well, dude, we've been going for about an hour. What do you have going on here in the next week or so?
Um, gonna finish the chassis table. So yeah, finish modifying that and then flip it over and put it back where it was. I know, exciting. Um, and then back to the pedal car. I'm still sticking to my guns. I want to finish the pedal car. A version of finished. It's going to be probably in wagon mode, and I'm going to call it done for a little while. I want my goal for my finish line for done is I want to be able to take it to car shows this spring and summer and fall. So
Yeah,
that's the finish line, and then go all in on the sprint car. So I got to start firing up conversations and wheeling and dealing and get some parts and um, things like that. But yeah,
cool.
getting super anxious and a little bit grumpy about it. I don't know about you. Do you ever get every now and then I'll stumble on like, all right, here we go. I'm gonna try not to upset myself. I was flipping through old pictures of my phone. And I don't know if I told you this on the podcast or not, but I stumbled on a my like first plans, my first kind of layout of this pedal car right here.
Mm.
and it was in 2022.
Oh yeah, you did last
Did I
episode.
say that on the last
Yeah,
episode?
yeah.
All right. Well, it's still it still bothers me.
Well,
Uh,
if we learn
even
it, good.
even when um, so some of the parts I bought for the sprint car, like I bought the axles and all that, and even the engine, like the axles I bought when I still lived in Indiana. So that was a year and a half ago now.
Yeah.
I'm like, son of a gun. Like,
Well,
I know everybody does it. I know everybody buys parts, and
yeah.
someday I'm gonna get to it. And I'm determined to not be the guy that says someday. I'm actually going to do it. But
Yeah, and you are. Yeah.
a lot
And
of people buy parts and sit on them for a while. And so
dude, you're making progress. You're building your second pedal cart. You have a lift in your garage. We have this podcast to keep each other motivated.
accountable. That's right. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Thanks, Nick. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's my fault. No, and if we learned anything from earlier this episode, just clean your shop and you'll be motivated
Yeah.
to get back at
Yeah. That's for
it.
sure. There's nothing that or that motivates me more than like tripping over stuff.
Oh yeah, it's the worst. Well, hopefully, I don't think I'll have the car the next time we record. I'd be shocked if he gets it done by next week, but
I mean,
hopefully,
realistically, you said 2 weeks.
it could
That is
be.
not bad. If
Yeah,
and I say that fully understanding that it could be more than 2 weeks, which is also not bad. If
yeah,
you
and I.
think about like he doesn't know exactly, like he's troubleshooting, and
Hmm.
it's a time
Yeah,
suck.
yeah, and I just told him, I'd like to have it back. Very much like to have it back for the first event, March
Yeah,
29th. Uh,
yeah,
which I think that's very reasonable to want it back by then. So yeah, a couple weeks. Maybe not by the next episode. This might be the view without the tires. Hopefully I have them sold. But but yeah. Otherwise I'm gonna try to get the truck in here and do oil change, brakes, like rear brake pads and stuff,
yeah.
which just general maintenance. But yeah, that's about it, man. Anything else before we close out?
No, try not to have any PTSD while you're trying to do brakes on the truck.
I know. Part of me is like, man, I should just go farm it out. Just
Yeah, let's
it's
just
not.
fast forward through this season of the brakes.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a bad idea. I might do that. It does need an oil change, so I think I'm gonna do that. But
Yeah, just do it all.
yeah, yeah. So cool, man. Well, this was fun. We'll do it again next week.
Sounds good.
All right, catch everybody later.
See you.